Hello everyone, welcome back to our channel where art and creativity always meet. Today we will explore and create a picture of a very special and graceful creature in nature, the dragonfly. Don't worry if you have never drawn a dragonfly before, because I will guide you step by step from basic sketches to the most delicate details so that your final picture becomes vivid and attractive. First, prepare drawing paper, pencils, erasers, and if you want watercolors or pencils to color the picture. We will start with observation. Dragonflies are creatures with long, slender bodies with thin, transparent wings and delicate patterns. Their eyes are large and round, occupying most of the head, creating a characteristic highlight and helping you easily recognize this species at first sight. The dragonfly's body is usually divided into three parts: head, thorax, and abdomen. The head is small, almost circular, with large eyes that take up most of the head. The thorax is where the four wings are attached with small muscles that help the wings extend and move. The abdomen is long, slender, and often curves slightly when the dragonfly is perched or flying. When you look closely, you will notice the wonderful balance between the body and the wings, which makes the dragonfly graceful when flying. Next, we will sketch out the overall shape. Let's start by drawing a light straight line for the long abdomen. This will be the central axis of the dragonfly's body. Then mark the position of the head with a small circle connecting it to the abdominal axis. Next, for the thorax, you can draw a small oval just below the head to serve as the attachment point for the wings. At this step, don't try to draw too much detail, just determine the correct proportions and relative positions between the head, thorax, and abdomen. Once we have determined the body frame, we will add the wings. Dragonflies have four wings, two forewings and two hindwings, all of which are thin, long, and slightly transparent. Let's start with the forewings. Draw a curve from the thorax, remembering that the forewings are usually longer than the hindwings and are slightly pointed at the tip. Then draw the hindwings, which are slightly smaller and placed lower than the forewings, also slightly curved and elongated. When drawing the wings, you should sketch the veins with thin parallel lines, creating a detailed and natural feeling, but don't force it too much. The veins are important because they help the drawing come alive and closer to reality. Next are the eyes and the head details. Dragonflies have large, round eyes that almost take up the entire head. Draw two large symmetrical circles, then add a few small lines to brighten the eyes, making the drawing more lively. Next are the small antennae in front of the head. They are very short, but you can add them to make the drawing more detailed. The thorax is where the legs are attached. Although the dragonfly's legs are small and thin, don't ignore them because they contribute to the natural shape when the dragonfly lands. Draw each leg thin, slightly curved, viewed from the side to create a feeling of soft and flexible legs. After finishing drawing the body and wings, we will move on to the abdomen. The dragonfly's abdomen is long and slender. You can draw it into many small, slightly curved segments to make the picture look graceful. Some dragonflies have colors or patterns on the abdomen. You can sketch light color streaks or small dots to create patterns, but make sure they are not too thick because dragonflies often have a delicate, gentle appearance. Once the details are clear, use a dark pencil or ink pen to emphasize the main outlines: body, outline, wing, outline, eyes, and legs. This helps the picture to be sharper and more prominent. At the same time, determine the light source in the picture. For example, if the light is coming from the top left, highlight some of the highlights on the wings and belly and use lighter strokes to create shadows on the opposite areas, adding depth. Now we move on to this coloring step. If you are using colored pencils, start with a light base color first. Then gradually build up the darker colors for the shadow areas. With watercolors, paint from light layers, let it dry, then add darker layers to create a transparent effect on the wings. Dragonflies come in a variety of colors: blue, red, yellow, or brown, depending on the species, and the wings can be slightly transparent to the reflected light. When coloring, try to emphasize the light by leaving some small white spaces on the wings, creating a shimmering effect. Don't forget the environment around the dragonfly. A leaf, a flower, or a branch can be enough to make the painting more lively. Draw the leaves using soft curves, adding veins to create depth. And if you want, you can blur the background with a lighter color to help the dragonfly stand out more. The background doesn't need to be overly detailed, just feel natural and harmonious. Once everything is complete, check the painting again. Check if the proportions, details, and colors are balanced. You can emphasize small details such as the wing veins, eyes, and the veins on the belly to make the painting more vivid. A little tip is to look at the painting from a distance. This will help you detect any imbalances or details that need to be edited. When you feel satisfied, you can sign and keep your work. And now when you look at the finished painting, take a moment to feel each line, from the fragile wings, the graceful body, to the delicate patterns on the belly. Each stroke has a personal mark, and that is what makes the work special. Painting is not just about recreating a creature, but also a journey to practice patient subtlety in observation and your own creativity. The small dragonfly seems simple, but when you observe and express it with your strokes, it becomes lively and attractive. Let this picture remind you that beauty always exists in the small things, and sometimes it is the meticulousness and attention to detail that brings the greatest joy in creation. If you are interested, challenge yourself by drawing more dragonflies with different colors and patterns, or explore more small creatures in nature. Each time you do so, you will practice your observation color matching proportion and creativity skills. Don't forget to share your work with friends, relatives, or on art platforms because every picture deserves to be cherished and admired. Finally, remember that art is a journey, not a destination. Each picture you draw is a step forward in that journey. Enjoy the process, learn from small mistakes, and always believe in your creativity. Thank you for taking the time to draw with me today, and I hope you had a relaxing, enjoyable, and inspiring time. See you in the next art tutorials where we will explore more unique creature scenes and ideas to bring your imagination to life.